broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Lyndsey, don't be so uncool. Actually,
Uncool.
Lyndsey's the cool one. We're the uncool ones because we're the ones in sunglasses inside. But we had to do it for Luann, and one of us opted to be the uncool one tonight. And Lyndsey was awesome and brave enough to be the uncool one.
I'll be the uncool one. I can handle it.
She can handle
take it.
Oh, we've been waiting all season for this. Hello, everyone. I'm Ashley Daniels here for another recap of the Real Housewives of New York, and we got our Luann, don't be so uncool quote tonight with her shades on, all cool, and we were really happy. Who am I here with tonight?
Fern Ronay.
Beautiful Fern.
Hey guys, I'm Lyndsey Wegner.
And Megan Stecher. Hi.
And are we on the, can they chat us tonight? Okay, cool. Yeah, so send us your chat questions, and we will try to get to as many as we can throughout this recap, but we do have a lot to recap tonight, which is always a good thing.
So much to recap, and then so much because we want to thank our sponsors who provide AfterBuzz to you guys for free. And our sponsor today is Mazda. And I know that I just want you guys to close your eyes, because get into it. Feel what I'm saying here. Pretend that you're driving your Mazda down the road, okay? Because does driving matter to you? There's over 4 million miles of road in the U.S. to find out. That's a lot of highways, freeways, wrong ways, and long ways. They're all there waiting to be driven on. So do you take that left turn in Albuquerque or just keep going? Do you wake up early on Sunday morning for the drive before the traffic does, or do you take the long, winding road home for a change? If driving matters to you, just get out and drive. Why? Because driving matters. And that's what Mazda's telling you, and I hope you guys could picture that before we're being...
I'm picturing it.
You're picturing it?
Oh my
Are we
God,
picturing
yeah.
it today?
I'm totally picturing it.
Dude, yeah, you guys
I got
are
my glasses
cruising.
on. I'm all in the moment right
Sun's
now.
out.
That's right. Don't be all uncool.
Don't
be cool
be
and drive
cool in
your
a Mazda.
Thank you. I'm feeling it, ladies. I'm feeling it.
Okay, and speaking of cool, or should we say uncool. in this... I'm telling you, this one was uncool. Not happy tonight with the first thing I see. So we obviously have, Heather and Dorinda, their argument, and Ramona, kind of inserting herself into that. I mean, first of all, it was like full circle, because we basically ended the way we started tonight. I think there's a certain point where you realize when someone doesn't like someone. And no matter how many times they get over it, there's something there. And we see that, and that's what's going on with Dorinda and Heather. And it's really more Dorinda aggravated at Heather. I don't think Heather really has a problem with Dorinda. But we saw it again tonight. And the uncool part of all that was that Ramona had nothing to do with it, but she shoved herself physically into that fight. Did you guys think that there was a moment where Ramona was going to just stop and actually say, okay, fine, I won't step in? Because she was very persistent. And Heather said, get out, but she just was very persistent. Did you guys think she was gonna back out and say, fine?
Well, I think initially Ramona's intentions were purely helpful because she has been her friend for a long time. So she knew that Dorinda maybe needed a little, like a moment or a hug or something like that. But Ramona's saying, she needs a timeout from you to Heather.
Right.
Oh, now you're just stirring the pot. Get out of there. Let them talk.
Right.
And she had to be like, I've known her for 15 years. You've only known her for 6 months.
Right.
Complete
unnecessary dig from her, which I didn't appreciate.
And I don't know if her intentions were, I think she just wants to save the day and be the hero and be the center of attention.
Of course.
Can we say that she also did this in the fight with Dorinda and, with Kristen and Bethany later? She inserted herself, said, don't ever, telling Kristen, don't ever talk about Bethany in the press. Yeah. She doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Why stir the pot?
So obnoxious.
She does it all the time. And I just think she's excited. Like Bethenny said it before, and like she was kidding, but it's true. I think Bethenny said it about herself, but I'm saying I think Ramona gets excited when she's not fighting. Now I'm taking my sunglasses on. If everybody else took them off, fine. I'll be.
You know what? I felt like it was so dark with them on. I couldn't see you guys.
I would have worn them the whole time. So yeah, we did see that go on later on, but okay. So the argument, obviously, the Heather and Dorinda fight occurs, and do you guys have any opinions about that argument? This is the second kind of half of it, obviously.
I'm just glad that Dorinda admitted that she drank too much.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was an alcohol fight.
Yeah, but I'm a little confused with when Dorinda gets upset and over what and why.
Me too.
Mean, I think a lot of times it is going on with like having a few martinis, but it really is a Heather thing. And I mean, Bethany's impersonation of Dorinda was flawless.
Right.
Like, don't you pull that? Well, you know, all the cursing she threw in there made it so flawless. But I mean, I don't know what her triggers are. It seems like very repetitive. She says a lot of the same things, but I really don't know what her triggers are.
I don't either, because
Heather
like,
in general.
She said, when someone hurts me, I hurt them back. I fight back. Right. And I was like, I forgot what she was mad at Heather for. She's like, what did Heather do to hurt her? Besides the mother comment. But before that, she was screaming at her.
We got to look at the words that are coming out of her mouth every time and try to, because I'm confused myself. But the only thing I see a lot that she says is feels like she's being preached to or talked down to, I think. And I think it makes her feel like Heather is thinking that she's better than everybody else, which I don't think is true. I actually don't think there's ever really a time where I see Heather do that in general to other people at times where she might be preaching a little bit, not so much negatively, but maybe she's just trying to take the initiative and whatever. But in this case, I don't see that happening ever with Dorinda. But it seems like Dorinda gets aggravated even when Heather does things to other people.
And maybe that's just what she's seeing. She's just seeing kind of that preachy attitude because Heather can get a little bit preachy with it. And Dorinda's take on that was that it seems like she's being self-righteous. And I think that was Dorinda's, and maybe Dorinda had somebody in her life do that. So when she sees that behavior in Heather, that just rubs her the wrong way. Maybe even her husband or something like that. You know, like how some person can like just kind of trigger that, and all of a sudden you're reminded of all the things they did, and so you hit the gas and you're ready to fight right away.
But the little bit we've seen of her relationship with her daughter, Dorinda and her daughter, it doesn't seem like it's. I mean, you see the daughter kind of trying to tell her how to live her life in a lot of ways. So I don't know why I guess because it is her daughter, she's obviously going to react differently. But in general, it doesn't seem like she's always looking for people to, in her life, whether they're her family or not, for them to not preach at her or not be self-righteous in a sense, because her daughter kind of is.
Absolutely. And maybe she allows her daughter to do this, and so then because Heather is doing it, and then she all of a sudden has to snap at somebody because she can't do that to her daughter because she loves her.
Right.
It's easier to snap at a stranger.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, that was an excellent
Figured
analysis.
the whole thing out tonight. Thank you. Do we have anything left? God, awesome. Next topic. Next. Check that off. Well, the next topic's a big one. All right, I want to know, and you guys have to all answer, like really answer this honestly, because I'm going to be very honest as well. We all have to be super honest. If you woke up, and let's put everything into perspective, you were naked, as Heather said, and, you did not think there was a guy in the next room, and you walked in, you saw a man naked, would you have been as upset as Heather? Starting with Megan.
Ooh. I think I could have been. I think I could have been for sure, but I don't think I would have been crying. Right. I think it would have been more anger and not turned into tears. And I think I would have felt better as soon as I got an apology.
Got it.
And there wasn't any apologizing going on.
So you would have been upset initially. That's your answer.
Oh yeah, because I think like her, I would have been worried about like the violation of him seeing me naked.
Got it.
I don't think I would have been worried about him stealing jewelry and wallets and stuff that they were thinking.
Okay. What about you, Lyndsey? Are you on her side?
We're all within years of being in college and stuff, 10 years or less, or something close to that.
Right.
Anyway, so we've all kind of been in the situation where you have random guys coming over to the house or boyfriends and stuff like that. So at this point in my life, I may not be bothered by it. But these women are also 10 years older than this. So they are 20 years out of college. 10 years or more, 20 years for some of them. So they are out of college, so that's not the norm for them.
Okay, so
to
your answer?
me, it probably wouldn't bother me. I certainly wouldn't be crying. I certainly wouldn't be crying.
Okay.
I may be a little bit upset and say, you should have walked the person out. Be respectful to all of the women in the house and concerned for our well-being. But I wouldn't be upset about it.
So
I would
would be,
talk
wouldn't
about
be.
it.
I would not have been crying. I wouldn't have been upset about it, but I would have said to her privately, maybe because I watched too much Investigation Discovery and Dateline, but like, you don't know this guy.
Yeah,
You just met
right.
him. You don't know him. He could have killed all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, I really thought about this. I'm going to say I would not have been upset because my personality when I would be with a bunch of girls would be very fun, and I would be. I probably would have laughed. But I am a very, like, in a lot of ways, I'm very fearful of things, like with, anybody, like you always check the back seat of my car, little things like that. So, but in this case, there's cameramen, there's a production company there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been scared.
Okay.
So that's just how I would have
They're
been.
not going to let anything happen to either
So
one.
majority, we all kind of feel the same way. I mean, you do feel, you would have probably not been upset if it was like production
And it
team
had
and stuff.
nothing to do with like the guy sleeping over. I think it's just the fact that he was naked and I was naked.
Yes.
Is where
Strange.
I would get freaked
Right.
out. Yeah.
Okay. So I was just curious what you guys thought because I can understand being upset, but the tears and I mean makes me think, was there something that maybe happened at some point in her life? Maybe something triggered. I just can't figure out why you would cry, I guess. I
didn't get
understand.
why she was crying.
I don't know. Maybe it scared her. Like maybe I really don't know. It obviously scared her. So
Great TV.
it was great TV. So I don't know.
Maybe it was just so much of a shock to her that she was nude and that there was a nude man and she thought maybe he saw everything.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
There was just so much shock first thing in the morning, and then none of the other girls wanted to take any responsibility for it.
Right.
Just like made her so angry, she just cried.
Yeah, maybe
Right.
she was crying out of frustration. Like, you're like,
Why is no one understanding
yes,
me?
exactly.
Right, and I'm wondering if that's like reminding her of like times where maybe like she's been upset about something before and people like made it like it wasn't a big deal, which upset her even more, and so she's reacting so upset to begin with because she feels like people aren't going to see her side of the story anyway. So that's what I thought. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so she comes downstairs. Any justification do you guys feel on Ramona's part of kind of just throwing it to Luann?
Ramona was the one to blame in all of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
She got away clean.
She got away, yeah.
She's really pulling one over on everybody.
Yeah, not Sonja though. Sonja's calling it
Yes,
all.
I love it.
Sonja's like the
love it.
what is it called when you're like the not the referee, but like she's like calling all the she's like doing like the not referee. What's it called when like you call the sports? You're saying whatever he's doing.
She's like,
She's like sports
commentator.
commentator. She's
The
like
commentator.
commentating.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all fighting, and she's like, and she's going over there. Oh, look at Ramona's gonna get away with everything right now, and she's
Yeah,
just. It
she's
was so
calling it.
funny. It was so funny. But yeah, I guess Louis. Okay, so she goes in and everybody goes in. They yell at Ramona. Ramona stays in bed. It obviously she could go right back to sleep. She was so not even fazed by the whole situation. She wanted nothing to do with it. And then they all go to Luann, and they do kind of jump into her room.
Yeah.
They are with a camera crew. So I wish Luann would have said that because then there's more on her side in terms of her trying to stick up for herself. It's like, I didn't even get a chance to put a robe on. You bursted in with the camera crew. That's embarrassing. Because that I can see. If it's just the girls,
completely.
it's like, maybe not as big of a deal.
We're
But
just saying, ladies, give me 1 minute. I'll be right out to talk to you about this. Just give me a second.
do you think they would have?
I think these
Carole
women.
would've.
I think these women are still respectful enough of each other that if somebody said, "Can you give me a minute to quickly get dressed,
Right.
and then I'll meet you outside," not saying, "Well, I'm not going to talk to you about this now. Go talk to somebody else about it," like Ramona did, kind of pushing them away, but saying, give me a second. Let me brush my teeth. Let me put a robe on. I'll be right out to talk to you.
Right.
I think that would have been, then she could say, "You guys burst into my room. You didn't leave. I politely asked you to leave." Then she would have something to be frustrated with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She really didn't do. Yeah. I think she was at that point like so confused.
She was embarrassed too.
Yeah. I feel like Dorinda also kind of. I mean, there's no way she didn't know because as we heard the story later, they were all in the car insisting that the guys stayed. Now that doesn't mean that Dorinda was one of the ones insisting, but Dorinda definitely knew that people came home last night.
Right. The fact that she wouldn't answer their question
Right.
and
was like, I didn't have my contacts in.
What does that have to do with your ears?
Exactly, your ears aren't plugged in.
Yeah.
and
what the
Carole
heck?
was just like, did they bring a man home? Did they bring men home? And there was no
she said that.
answer.
So I can't see. It's like, well, you
Very-
can't. So you didn't see any men, basically. You didn't have your contacts in last night. You didn't see what happened. So you couldn't hear when you, obviously, when you can't see, you can hear. Clearly, it's like, totally.
Very evasive.
Totally. And then even later on, she kind of skipped it too, and they brought it up again. So Dorinda was too afraid because she saw that. I mean, I think anybody would be afraid if you see somebody screaming about something. You're like, okay, well, I want nothing to do with this. I'm running upstairs.
And Carole, who's normally calm, was upset too. So it was like, this must be
She
serious.
was upset, but she was acting later like she was very nonchalant, which was like, well, I think she was initially upset because
I think
Heather was
riled
upset.
her.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally. And Luann, who was just very countess-like in the previous argument about the swearing, all of a sudden's like, well, I don't know why you guys would be upset. I wouldn't be upset if that happened. No, they said, wouldn't you be upset if that happened? She says, I wouldn't. What? No, I wouldn't. And it's like, Luann picks and chooses when she wants to be all like East Coast and very like, no, I wouldn't care, and then very like, no, that's not proper. And it's like, just be who you are, because I think the real Luann is this Luann. She's fun.
Yeah.
Just be that always. You don't need to sometimes put on your countess hat. Like I don't know. How do you guys feel? Do you feel like she's kind of wishy-washy in her?
Yeah, it's inconsistent. You can't be someone who says, I don't curse, but I sleep with married men on vacation.
Right.
Yeah, because he was married too.
Right.
I mean, now did he have a ring on? Maybe this.
She might not have known.
This was a conversation maybe with
I wish
production.
she said she didn't know.
She said she didn't know.
Oh, she did say that? Okay.
Did she?
I think she was like, oh, I didn't know. Well, I guess so. I guess I did. I don't think anyone really would be excited. Yeah, I made out with a married man. Like, no one's going to be excited about that. And you shouldn't be if you are.
Right.
But maybe she really didn't know. Maybe this was something production found out when they interviewed him, because they're signing waivers. They're filling all their information out.
Yeah, but they didn't go when they weren't on camera.
But they still have to, just in case they do end up on camera.
You think they do no matter what? Okay. Well, yeah, you have that cousin or something that
Yeah,
used to
my
work.
friend's a producer.
Oh,
on
yeah,
that.
yeah. So okay. Interesting that they, all right.
So maybe production found out, and that's why they said, and then they told the women, and then the women said something to Luann.
Yeah.
Because that's great TV.
Yes. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay. Good point.
I wonder if they'll show him in the lost footage.
That's
so
what I'm
his wife
thinking
will
right
see.
now. Thank you for, you literally
That'd be
just took
great.
that. I know.
Someone made a small little comment on the side. I don't know if it was Sonia or someone. They were like, oh, well, Luann's guy, snuck out without anyone, she got away with it. No one saw him.
Right.
Okay.
Well, Kristen kind of threw her under the bus saying, he was a married man on camera. I don't think that was necessary to say on
Me either.
camera.
I thought that was definitely something that she could have gotten in more trouble for with Luann, and I was surprised Luann didn't
Me too.
go after her about that.
Right. That
Maybe
was terrible.
maybe she said something off camera to her, that was a low blow.
Hopefully this guy's wife doesn't watch the show, and hopefully his name doesn't ever get out. Because he could have literally ruined his marriage by doing this. But it seems like he's protected so far, obviously. Knock on wood.
Well, it's probably not his first time doing it.
Yeah, very true.
Unfortunately.
Very true. So I guess the question is, she's saying, be cool, don't be all uncool. Is it cool? Is it uncool to react the way Heather and Carole did?
I think they went a little over the top, crying, bursting into the room with the camera people. She could have been naked.
I do too.
They could have done to her what they felt was done to that. It was embarrassing all around. And so, I think they kind of overreacted and could have just said to her privately, that wasn't cool. And it was Ramona's fault, really. They should be talking
she
to
got away with
Ramona.
everything. I agree, and I also think that in this case, Heather was getting more and more steamed up, like I said, because no one was agreeing with her, and she felt like she was like, "Are you serious? Am I talking to a wall? Guys, don't you see my perspective?" Because I do see this perspective of okay, well, what if that guy, God forbid, could have jumped in bed with her,
him at all,
or took pictures, or who knows?
Well, was the guy that pissed off that he wasn't going to have sex with Ramona that she felt like she had to leave?
Why?
Or did
Why
she
would she
feel
do
that she
that?
was that tempted to have sex with him? Because, the thing is, you can platonically sleep in the same bed together, and that way when
the cameras.
Heather sees that you the next morning, she's like, okay, well, at least Ramona's in there with the guy. Then it's not such a shock than some random dude sleeping in there. How did he get there? How did this happen type of thing? And what's running through your mind that he's in there? Was he trying to get into our room last night and didn't? That's where your mind kind of starts to play tricks on you.
Well, going into that, speaking of that, do you think Ramona slept with him? Or do you think
I
this was
don't
just
think she did.
Because I feel like if you did, wouldn't you stay in the bed? Unless she wanted to, unless this was literally because it seems like for some reason, every time they bring men home, none of that's on camera. I'm not saying, obviously, the stuff that happens in the bed would be on camera, but I'm saying just, like, bringing him in, going to the party, when they met them. All this stuff's never on camera. And so Ramona did, like, why would you walk downstairs unless you didn't want anybody to know?
That's what I have a sneaking suspicion. They definitely hooked up upstairs. That's why he was nude in the morning.
Right.
And she snuck away so that no one would know.
That's a good point.
Is what I think happened.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
probably
good.
what happened.
Because she's in denial of everything.
Oh, and
like
she's
Bethenny
sharing
says.
a room with Sonja, right?
Right.
Oh, so she would have had
So
to hook up upstairs.
She couldn't
Yeah.
hook up in the room with Sonja, which is
'Cause
why
it's-
they went up to the extra
Right.
bedroom.
and then she
Right.
left him up there.
Right.
Interesting.
It's all coming
Very
together now.
good. Now we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So this was the last day of the trip, as Dorinda said. I think this is like now, like, to Carole, someone said, like, this is like the vacation needs to end now. Basically,
Yeah.
like
Like
we
need
should
vacation
go
from
home.
my vacation.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Sonja's just kind of laughing at the whole thing. She's like trying to preach. She's like, when you bring men home, you never leave them. And like,
Yeah. She
she's
had some
all
good
like,
one-liners.
She should write a
Did.
book on taking men home and
She
like
was saying-
sneaking it.
What did she said something at some point in this? She was like, "This is a lesson for you girls. You leave them out on the beach."
You always look. She's like, Ramona's very green to this right now.
She's
very
green to the
green.
game.
She's green to the game. So funny.
It's like a wild sorority house.
It really
Turks
is.
and Caicos.
It really is.
No, wait, are you supposed to call it Turks and Caicos? Because at one point Luann said, we're in the Turks and Caicos. And I was like, do you call it
I never
that?
heard
Is
that
that
Turks
proper?
and Caicos in my life.
I've heard just Turks and Caicos.
heard
But
just
she's
Turks
actually
and
really
Caicos.
intelligent and really educated, so
I
I
mean,
would go with her at the
She's
end of the day. But
Miss Properite.
Yeah.
Maybe that's correct. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Anywho.
Anyway, so then we have the next day, which was interesting. Carole and Bethenny met again. Last time they met, Carole told Bethenny she had a sex dream of her. This time they meet and they just have a regular tea time or whatever they had. But they, of course, like every time a housewife meets another housewife after a fight, they rehash the fight for the person that wasn't there. So they did that. And then they talk about, Bethenny brings up, she's like, I'm not even surprised about this whole thing because Ramona's already lying about her boobs. So it would make sense she's lying about the guy. So I'm like, okay, so maybe she did get her boobs done because Bethenny's really adamant that she got
Totally.
her boobs done. They look great though.
Ramona totally got her boobs
She
done.
got something
They're good.
done.
If she did or she got them lifted, they look really good. They look natural.
She
At
looks
least she did
great.
it the right way.
Yeah, they look amazing. They look amazing. And
Don't hate on it.
then she says, Dorinda was on her martini train regarding the fight with Heather, and because she wasn't there for that either, and does the amazing impersonation that we all died laughing. We watched it 5 times of Dorinda. Mm-hmm. Best thing I've ever seen in my
Best.
life. Unbelievable.
It really was spot on.
And she said her justification for Dorinda getting aggravated was what again? It was something like
She had a
Dorinda.
nap. She doesn't nap.
No. Before Dorinda got there, Bethenny was saying she understands why Dorinda gets all like pissed off.
I think she said it was something like when Dorinda's drinking, she'll listen to your stream of conversation and then just one little thing she'll pick up on, and that's when she goes into, don't you do that.
Right.
I'm not like that. We're not going there.
She's also got the impression
Bethenny
down.
did
Yeah.
it really
She
well
did
with
it-
the slurring.
By the way, you did a really good job
With the
too.
slurring with it,
With
yeah.
the slurring,
Wow.
yeah, that was great. That was really
You're
great.
close.
You are really close. Don't you do that? Yeah, you're getting better, actually. You just did it a second time. And Dorinda came at that point, right? Did Dorinda
Yes.
show up? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
okay.
like, wait, because I can't even tell now. She did the impersonation so well. Did the real Dorinda actually show up? And did Dorinda have anything really to add to that conversation?
Just that she didn't get her nap, and she naps
Yeah,
every
yeah,
day
the
at
nap
4 o'clock
thing.
for 45 minutes, and it's actual real nap. She takes her clothes off, gets into a nightgown, and does that. When she doesn't get her nap in, she gets cranky.
That's scary.
I mean, apparently, Carole thought it was a big enough deal that she was like, Dorinda's our new gangster. Like,
Yeah,
Dorinda
yeah,
is
yes.
rough
Yeah.
and tough.
Blonde, blue-eyed.
Yeah.
gangster.
We
Yeah.
we
really
got a new
didn't
gangster.
think that, but I really, she's catching me off guard. I really was
too.
on the Dorinda wagon. Like, I was like, yes,
Me
Dorinda.
too. I thought she was so reasonable.
She's
now I'm
a
like, she's scaring me.
She's just a cool customer until she's not.
Yeah, yes.
Uh-huh.
And
What
I
did she
think-
say? Like scorched earth? Like I'm like a dragon and
Yeah.
scorched earth. Like she's
And she's like, and I will want you to die.
Oh.
Yes. She's like, don't raise your sword to me, because I will raise my sword to you and kill you or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
scary
I
like
mean,
that.
I think I called it from the beginning and I said, y'all just take a second and let's get to know her a little bit more. Let's get into this. Like,
you're so right
just
about
because
that.
So right.
You always say it.
And that was with Kristen too
I
at the
know,
beginning. I felt
I
like I was a
know.
little bit annoyed with her, and then I really ended up loving her.
Yeah, right.
And we all kind of talked about the fact that she's been really quiet this season, and we have heard rumors that she's not coming back next season and stuff. And I don't think any of us are false in the why we like her, because when we met her, she was very vocal and very fun and gave her opinion here. I think she's being quiet on the show because she doesn't want to come off as loud-mouthed and stuff. And in all honesty, in my opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. She may not stay on the show, but at least she's avoiding the drama, and I don't mind that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very true. Good point.
Yeah, her
think
storyline
that-
in the first season was her marriage, and maybe she was like,
Didn't
I'm
want
not
that to be
doing
more.
that
Right.
again.
Like, not
so,
this year, yeah.
but I'm also not going to insert myself into every little fight just to ensure another season.
A la
so
Ramona.
That's pretty healthy
Yes.
thinking.
Speaking of the threats, though, that we kind of just talked, like she kind whatever that threat thing that Dorinda said, what was it? I'll squish you, whatever. Yeah, like,
Scorched earth.
Bethany kind of had her own with the ice pick thing. She was like, "I'll use that glue on Kristen. I'll glue it shut, her mouth shut." And then she's like, with the ice pick. I forget what the ice pick. But I was like, "Whoa, you do not want to mess with the New York Housewives ever. Go to Orange County and mess with them, but don't mess with the New York Housewives. You may get away with it at Orange County, definitely not with these girls." But she's upset. Obviously, Bethany's upset because she tells them about the situation where Kristen spoke to the media. To the press about her and said something that I actually didn't understand why she'd be so upset about, just because I it's not like something straight out like saying, oh, Bethany's this or that. It was like, don't judge a book by its cover. Everybody says that. I just think she's very sensitive right now with the press because she's dealing with so much with her. Is he already her ex-husband, or are they still?
No,
They're
he's
Jason.
still fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're still yeah. So it's just a lot she's dealing with. So I think she would just rather have people not talk to the press. And I think Kristen was obviously when the next day, so, next day we see Heather and Carole and Kristen working out. And then Carole, of course, as always, kind of is the messenger, tells, Kristen that she's upset, that Bethany's upset about it. And it's like, Kristen was just like, yeah, I guess, like, you could tell immediately that she regretted it. Mm-hmm. She was kind of like, yeah, I said it, but I said it this way. I just could tell immediately, like, this was not a person that was, like, 100% backing what she said initially. And then she said later she had a drink when she talked to the press or something. So
I think she's, okay with what she said. She just wishes she hadn't said anything about Bethany. Like, hadn't brought her up, period.
yeah, right.
And maybe there's some unspoken rule between all of them, or spoken, that they don't talk about each other in the press, and maybe Bethany felt that was violated.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Kristen got the memo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I think. I don't think Kristen really, maybe because she's newer, didn't really know that that's how they all roll.
Right.
But to be fair, the journalist, of course you're going to ask, how is it with
Absolutely.
Bethany?
Of course you are.
Yeah.
What's she going to say?
Right.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Get the dirt
You
if
have
they
to
can
say
so they can
something.
get the story.
Yeah.
Right.
I think she meant it in a really nice way. Like, there's a lot of bad stuff going, being said about her, and, like, that's not true. But she said it in a cliche way that was taken the wrong way.
I want to find the article because I didn't even hear of this when it came out.
We'll have to go back and
Yeah.
see where it
I
was.
She said
vaguely
it spread
remember
around
it.
a lot. I didn't hear it. We would have heard something. I don't know. It wasn't obviously too big of
Bad
a
that
deal at
we
the end
were
of the
worried
day.
about
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
But the workout's pretty funny. I like watching the girls work out in every season, in every franchise of the Housewives. It's always funny.
Yeah.
And Carol is like very anti-working out, and the other girls
She's like,
aren't.
nothing hurts.
Yeah.
Everyone complains that their back hurts or their knee hurts or their hip hurts. She goes, nothing hurts.
So that's the key
It's
to it.
kind of true.
It's funny.
She kept going, let's take a break.
Yeah, that was funny. They all look
Let's take a
so
break.
cute, so adorable.
Well,
in
and
their
that was the
clothes.
part of the show where I was surprised that Heather spoke up and said, her life's very out of balance, Dorinda. That's what's going on here. Her life's very out of balance. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like they're finally talking smack about Dorinda behind her back at a certain point. Like, it's finally come around to, well, let's talk about Dorinda. And now they're talking about Dorinda in the way that they talk about Sonja.
Yeah.
Like, well, she's drinking too much. She's having problems and drinking too much. And I thought, oh, God, are we going to say that about every girl that has one
Right.
too many cocktails?
Right.
Like, the show is about having one too many cocktails.
Right.
Come on.
But is there any other franchise other than this one where there are a pack of girls that do not fight with each other? Because are we ever going to see Kristen
I know.
and Heather and
feel like
Carole ever fight?
The three of them have bond or a true friendship that they're just not going to fight.
They must have taken an oath or something. Because I feel like every housewife would do that at the beginning anyway. They'd be like, we're never going to fight no matter what. But it's like, these girls, what other franchise? Do you know any other one?
I can't think of anything.
Everybody's fought with everybody at some point. These three never fight.
Even the family members from Jersey.
Yes.
They all ended up not even speaking.
And even tonight, so the next scene is the jeans event. And during that, Luann takes, help me, sorry, I'm losing my mind. Takes, who does she take aside?
Heather.
Yes, thank you. Takes Heather aside. And then mentions to her that Carole said, oh, I wanted to give you a heads up that before we came into the bedroom. And then she's like, well, get Carole over here, because I don't believe that. And then Carole denies it. Anybody else think that Carole was lying? Because I totally thought Carole was lying. That Carole did, because Carole was saying she did not apologize to Luann and say, hey, I was trying to give you a heads up that Heather was coming in.
So you think she did kind of apologize?
I think she did. I don't think Luann would make something up. I don't think she'd just make it up out of nowhere. Luann's smart enough not to do that, in my opinion. Okay. Carole's also smart enough to deny because she knows at the end of the day, which is kind of scary because you don't know when the cameras are on and when they're not on.
I think that the truth lies in the middle. I think she gently kind of gave her an I'm sorry, but she wasn't. It wasn't to the level that Luann was trying to make it seem.
Then why didn't she say that? I guess.
I mean, I felt like that's what Carole was explaining in her interview. And she was saying, like, you got it wrong, Luann.
Maybe she apologized, but she didn't stick up for Heather. Like, Luann saying, she came in, or maybe she didn't throw Heather under the bus. And maybe Luann saying, well, she threw you under the bus, saying that you barged in. Maybe she apologized, hey, we shouldn't have barged in. But she didn't say anything negative about Heather. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's...
I just feel like Heather should have, if this was anybody else, Heather would have stuck to it a little bit longer and been like, pushed, if it wasn't Carole, would push that person a little bit more and been like, did you do it or not? Like, it was very like, okay, I believe you. And I don't know. Those are how the arguments don't start, and those are how the arguments do start.
Right.
And you pick and choose when you want them to start and stop, I guess. So in this case, I just feel like, once again, there was a slight little opportunity for an argument, and they got over it quickly, I guess.
Well, I thought it was hilarious that almost every single housewife got dragged into it.
Except for Ramona.
Except for the one whose fault it was.
Well, when they finally drag her into it, it gets busted up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so quick to apologize. Yeah.
So quick to apologize. So did you feel like the entire time... So to recap this, guys, in order of how this happened, it starts with Heather and Luann, and they're discussing what happened, and Luann's really fired up and Heather's really not fired up, and it's just a really weird imbalance. And then Carole comes over and she defends herself, and then she defends the situation, defending Heather. And then they bring over, who comes over next?
Dorinda.
Is Dorinda next?
Yeah.
Okay. Dorinda's next. And then they're all calling Ramona over, and Ramona is like sitting there pretending she's texting or doing something on her phone. Maybe she's really texting, I don't know. But she's looking at her phone like basically wanting to just get out immediately. They go to her, and before even the words come out of Luann's mouth, Ramona is like, I just want to say I'm so unbelievably sorry for what I did. And I'm like, come on. I mean, I guess we'd be mad at her if she didn't apologize to her, though, right? Maybe she's being the bigger person.
Yeah. I think she's just trying to get out of trouble and not be in the hot seat.
She's caught. She was embarrassed. She was finally, all right, fine, I'll apologize for it. There's no way of getting out of it now at this point.
Exactly.
Right. And it seems like just 2 seconds later, we have Luann and Heather getting back. They're made up. Everything was kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And then it became uncool. Because of Dorinda.
Yeah.
What the heck was that? Can you guys please explain to me what your thoughts are on Dorinda placing herself into this argument?
She couldn't let it go either. She was had to say little things when it seemed that it was finally calm. Dorinda couldn't let it go with Heather. She just doesn't like her.
It got back to the preaching versus teaching. That was her situation, which is saying you're more preaching than you are teaching all of us.
It was ridiculous.
That was dumb.
It was so out of character for Dorinda. She wasn't even drinking.
No.
And we should just mention, obviously, what the event was. They were doing the jeans and everything.
First Smile Train charity, which does the cleft palates for $250. And that's how much these jeans typically cost, so they can auction them off and make some money for the kids to be able to do this really, really great charity that Kristen's running, and the diamond decorating party. So it was a really nice thing. And their jeans all turned out to be really cute.
I had a problem
most
with
of them.
Dorinda.
I had a problem with Dorinda's too.
And they were young.
She glued the coasters.
It was hilarious. I love Bethenny's. Those looked adorable.
But they were all yummy jeans too. So Heather must have donated the jeans for them, which was really neat.
Nice.
And you were looking up the price point. And they were between what, 80 and 130?
I think something like that. I
Super
saw some of them at like
affordable.
88. Yeah, and I have to say I do
And
own
you
a
have a
pair.
pair.
And I swear when I do wear them, I get on this like. I swear I don't get endorsed. I'm literally not lying about this. This is just me saying it. When I do wear them, I keep wearing them. Because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna wear. Like I'm the type that like likes to keep wearing whatever's comfortable. So when I do start wearing them, you'll see me in them every day. So they're super comfortable, I have to say, and they make your butt look great.
And great price point, and still like
And no camel
affordable.
toe, which is always a plus. No camel. I'm just saying, it's always keep the jeans that don't give you camel toe.
right.
We do have to talk about Bethenny and Kristen though after that really quickly, but overall, Dorinda has a serious issue with Heather, and she needs to just come clean. There's something annoying her, and they always make up and then they fight again. I don't understand what the problem is, but there's a serious problem.
I feel like they make up and Dorinda doesn't really mean it. She
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because wasn't it last time, like 2 seconds after they made up, she was like, "You're really gangster, girl." She's like, "No, I'm not." And she's like, "I was kidding. Are you mad?" She's like, "No, I'm okay." Like, but it was like,
It was
what?
obvious, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
think they're gonna get into it at the reunion.
oh, definitely.
Everything's just gonna come out.
I don't
Well,
know.
I hope we find out what her problem is. What Dorinda's
There's
problem
gotta be something deeper rooted that maybe she has an issue with, and we just haven't found it yet. But it's, I mean,
She
we're
said
all
she's preaching.
confused.
She said she preaches to people, and she doesn't like that. But it's like, what is that upsetting you about? Like, everybody kind of has that in them
You're
a little
not
bit.
gonna keep going after that, like time and time again. You're gonna just get over it. No, well, this person does that, and so you just kind of let it go in one ear and out the other.
Exactly.
You just learn to ignore it.
Maybe she just wants to fight with someone for screen time, and she picks her as like the most.
She's more comfortable in front of the camera, you mean? Because she wasn't fighting at the
something.
beginning, and now she's fighting all the time. But also, it's like, the fight was over, and then she kept going and going and
Yes.
going.
Well, Dorinda said something when they were having their argument in Turks and Caicos. Dorinda said something like, "You know what? We have something really beautiful, and all this is messing it up." So I think she was referring to the fact that they have a genuine friendship outside of the show, and that she felt like the show was messing it up. And I'm not really. I don't know. I
They're
don't.
bringing out a side of somebody that they're normally not used to in their
Maybe.
friendship.
But I also have my theory that Dorinda thinks she's better than Heather. For some reason, it's something like, oh, my wealth is a little, we're from the same area, but, my wealth is now taking me up here for, through marrying a wealthy man, I'm up here, and she's younger than me, and, I feel like Dorinda is defending herself against something, kind of like, don't come after my spot. I don't know why.
Yeah. She definitely, I don't see her having I mean, Ramona is some very, very confrontational. People all have a problem with Ramona, but it seems like Dorinda never does. So it's like, what is Ramona doing right that Heather isn't? In her head, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Ramona does a lot of agreeing with people, though, all the time.
Yeah. No, of course. And I think she's known Ramona for a long time. And Ramona has the biggest heart. I mean, she really does. But I'm saying in terms of, like, actions, if it aggravates you that someone preaches, according to her, would it aggravate you that someone, like, maybe meddles or whatever? Why doesn't she get mad at stuff like that? I don't know. But you saw when Heather was, like, grabbing Dorinda, and Dorinda was crying so much, and Dorinda had been drinking at that point in the beginning fight, in the first fight. You see that she, like, really wanted nothing to do with even, like, the apology that Heather was trying to give her. She was kind of just like, she would have went and stayed in the bathroom, I felt like. She wasn't even like, she didn't want to hear her. It seemed that way. I wish we could figure it out. I don't understand it.
I don't know.
But quickly, we only have a few minutes. I want to talk about Bethenny and Kristen's argument. Did you guys think that Bethenny handled it well in going into Kristen at this event and talking to her about it? Because as she said, you should have called me or texted me when you saw this came out. I feel like the same happens, Bethenny should have waited and spoke about it another time.
Yeah, exactly. Both of their timing was off. Kristen should have called, texted right away and said, "You're going to see this in the paper. I'm so sorry." But on the flip side, Bethenny should know a time and a place. Don't bring it up here.
Yeah.
It was
Unless
unnecessary.
Kristen didn't think she did anything wrong, which I think that's what her initial thought was. She didn't think she said anything wrong. When somebody says, "Hey, this bothered me," then then she should have said, like after the workout, maybe texted Bethenny and said, hey, I didn't realize you were upset about this. I didn't think I did anything wrong, but I'm so sorry.
Well,
then maybe Bethenny wouldn't have brought it up at the party.
You said, but she did say, Kristen did say that when she saw the paper on that Sunday, she initially knew like something, she did something wrong.
Yeah.
So like, I think but like Bethenny said, you should have texted me, but she's like, I don't really feel that close to you. I would feel super scared if I knew that Bethenny doesn't really like me anyway, or she's like, and then just be like, hey, I just want you to know, in case you didn't already see it, I said something horrible about you. I'm really sorry. Have a nice day. Like, I would be so afraid.
Right.
So I don't know, how do you expect Kristen to do that so awkward?
Yeah, because Bethenny's done nothing but foster this atmosphere of fear around herself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be friends with you and you should fear me kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then Kristen admits that and says, I didn't think we were that close of friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Which is kind of a little bit...
I liked her comeback line. She said, who said I wanted to be friends with you?
Right.
It's like, good for her for standing up for herself.
I think she's just over it. She's like, you know what, I really don't think Bethenny has kind of given her mixed signals. Bethenny has her clique, her small group of people she trusts, rightfully so. She's now like, super wealthy all of a sudden, like night and day. And, she's obviously super famous and she's got a lot going for her. So I can understand where she's a little bit like guarded, but she put herself in a vulnerable position going back on the show. So she has to be open-minded with these people. And I feel like sometimes she's not. And I don't know, there's some reasoning behind it. And then also there's just like, you gotta find a way to do it and be the bigger person. So I don't think Kristen said anything too terrible, but I can understand where Bethenny's coming from. And I think Kristen probably should have said nothing. But she obviously had a few drinks, and we all say stupid things sometimes, so whatever. It's not the worst thing that was ever said, that's for sure.
No.
And let's see. I think that's it, actually. Do you guys have anything you wanted to add? All right, let's get into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Is that the old predictions back now? Okay.
Yeah, it was different last week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a very, like, short prediction. It was like prediction. Like, oh, okay. We're waiting for, like,
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
There, now we
yeah,
have both.
Yeah,
That
I like the old one.
I like the old one too.
Yeah, I don't know. They're
Now
both
we're
great.
ready.
Whatever, anyway. All right, starting with my loves.
I can't remember what happens in the promo.
That's all right. Lyndsey,
We've got the charity event happening in the promo. We've got Bethenny talking to her therapist. We also have Carole and Dorinda heading to London to get Carole's husband's urn.
oh my God, yeah.
I predict lots of bonding with Carole and Dorinda over being widows. And that'll be a nice, beautiful moment. And maybe she can find out a little bit why Dorinda hates Heather so much.
Yes. I hope she does. I hope she lets everybody know.
So.
Prediction, okay.
I know, right?
I recently read Carole's book, What Remains, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing. It's so good. Tweet me because I'm obsessed with this book and I'm obsessed with Carole.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's really amazing and wonderful. So now that she's talking about him and she's talking about Carolyn and John, I feel like I know so much more about her and them and their relationship and their friendship. So I can't wait for next week.
You're so cute. I can't even tell you how much I love you. I just think isn't she just the cutest?
She's a love bug.
She really is a love bug. You have the biggest heart. I don't know.
Guys.
I just love you.
Such a good spirit.
I don't even have a prediction, but I do really like you a lot. But I have a prediction that this is going to be another great episode because this season's amazing. And where can we find you all? On Twitter and everywhere, whatever.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Megan Stecher, MEGANSTECHER.
And you guys, this is Lyndsey here. You guys can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Lyndsey Wegner. That's LYNDSEYWEGNER, or my blog, lyndseywegner.blogspot.com.
Fern Ronay here. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Fern Ronay, RONAY.
And you can find me on Twitter at Ashley Daniels, Periscope at Ashley Daniels, Instagram at Miss Ashley Daniels, and we will see you next week for another recap of The Real Housewives of New York. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.